Delightful! And welcome to the gutter. Oh, I should have used a fade for that instead of a cut. Either way, my name is Steven. Welcome to Season 2, Episode 15, the Gutters Podcast. Joining me today is our clever girl, Nerdes.
I don't know where you got
Sarah Bernardes. What was that?
It's like a cat dinosaur.
She's the clever girl, and I'm
easy breezy, beautiful, clever girl.
Isn't there like a dinosaur that does this?
And oh shit, I made a thing for you earlier, and then I totally forgot what it was. It's just gravy, baby. It's Jonathan.
Hi.
I had a clever thing for you.
Did you though?
And I was trying to think of one for her, and then I remembered hers, and I couldn't remember yours. We came up with it right before.
Well.
What the shit was it?
Was it Dr. Graham?
Dr. Graham? No, it wasn't. It wasn't.
Well.
So,
what a downer.
It's a bummer that I forgot that.
It's such a bummer that
He's
you
gonna be like in the middle of a rant about this movie like 30 minutes from now and be like, Bob Saget! That's what it was!
Right. Well, today, guys, we're going to talk about Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, which is the second, the new Jurassic Park trilogy.
It is the fifth movie overall, second movie to the follow-up
World.
JB finds a way.
I like it.
So, we will get into that, but first, what you been playing, Sarah?
Well, I've been...
Got the camera on.
It's on me. Sarah! Hold on. Let me explain.
Steven's gonna do a reaction to it like, whoa.
That's why you were like, here's what's up. Sarah and I are house sitting, so we're not at home where our studio is. So what happens is I don't have spend the day when I'm at work and my off time prepping stuff and writing down notes.
And I don't spend enough time in the mirror anymore.
It's like,
so I need to put the camera.
Okay.
On moi.
So let's go again. JB.
I swear to God.
What have you been playing, Sarah?
Well, because as you mentioned, we've been house sitting. I haven't been able to play as much as I had been, but lately I've been still doing Sims. Is it Terra?
Terra, yeah.
Terra.
That's the
WoW
the MMO,
which is super
console.
awesome. And believe it or not, I played Fortnite by myself the other day.
Really?
I miss Fortnite.
Miss Fortnite?
I miss Fortnite a whole lot.
I don't even know.
Well, there's Friday Night Fort Noodle.
Yeah,
We could do Friday Night Fort Noodle.
that's true.
What about you, JB?
Well,
You've got a couple of streams under your belt in the last week or two.
Yeah. A little less than I would have liked. Like my first few weeks back from staying in San Antonio from summer break, I was like, man, I'm going to stream every single day. But then some life stuff came up with roommates and pretty unfun things happened where I had to be very helpful and away from the computer.
Right.
But I finished up Hellblade, which was so much fun.
And you got affiliated. Congratulations.
Yay.
Good job.
And my first sub was Game Guy.
Of course
so
it
cute.
was.
Because you and I were like, I wonder who my first sub's going to be. And you're like, I don't know. And Game Guy was like, it's going to be me! It's going to be me!
Yeah. I was sitting there and I was like, should I be JB's first sub? Should it be someone who's not a gimme?
But basically what it would be is you and me giving money to each other and then tearing, and every single time we're like, and half of it goes to Twitch. It's like...
Game Guy is the best.
Game Guy's
really
pretty
is.
freaking cool. So yeah, I got affiliated. That was a lot of fun. And the summer was the only chance I would have had at getting affiliated because once I go back to work in the fall, it's just going to be a little bit harder to stream as much. But once you're affiliated, always affiliated, as I understand it.
If you don't stream for a long time, 6 months or 3 months, if you do not stream at all for a long time, and it may be longer, maybe a year, then you have to read.
I'm not stressed about that. I'll get myself down.
But
and it was a lot of fun. I felt a good amount of support from from the
I thought you were looking at me as
Noodle Gang.
Is there something on my face?
There's always
Just a little bit of slobber. It's probably fine. I felt that.
Oh, yeah, I came at
and
you
that.
too.
I'm in a spit bath.
From now on, if you're gonna spit, you gotta go.
Oh, okay, seriously though, I'm getting misted by both of you. It's freaking me out.
Sorry. But you played some Jurassic World.
And then I played Jurassic World Evolution. And let me tell you, that game is... It feels like it's a game that's already 10 years old. Like, it's dated in its design. It doesn't feel very innovative in certain ways of design.
Like, the game itself is pretty basic.
Yeah. And, like, I'm talking, like, landscaping features, the ability to...
The game itself is park building. You build a park. And
it's like Operation Genesis was given a direct sequel and slightly better.
That's super cool.
It's a very clumsy game, but it's so much fun still.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'm having lots of fun with it, and maybe and maybe it's definitely got to be a bit fueled by the fact that I'm a big dino geek, and whatnot.
I want to play it. That sounds fun.
So, despite its few kind of small flaws, which are totally correctable, they can work on it. They can make patches and stuff. It's a fun game. I've quite enjoyed it, and I like that. I can have y'all jump in and hey,
you name dinosaurs after viewers and stuff.
I intend to. I haven't really had the opportunity.
Have a name yet?
I haven't had an opportunity to yet. I typically do.
Tell Sarah what you named your was the Allosaurus?
No, Carnosaurus.
The Carnosaurus.
Or Ceratosaurus. The first one was named Tina, you fat lard. And then the second one is named Napoleon.
That's amazing.
And every time a goat popped up, I was like, Tina, you fat lard, get your dinner!
Get your dinner. God.
So yeah, that was beautiful.
Tina died. No,
Tina died.
I'm just like,
No, there was one point though where you had to trank her.
yeah.
And
I tranked them both.
You had to trank
Well,
Tina?
I had to send a Jeep in to restock the food, and I'm not about to send a Jeep in with 2 live dinosaurs rocking around, so I sent an ACU chopper to trank them. They fell asleep. One fell asleep in the freaking lake.
One fell asleep in the lake, like head in the water. And we was worried, like, is that one alive? But it was fine.
Oh yeah.
I want to play this game.
You do?
Yeah.
Well, jumping on.
You've been talking
you can
about
play
it.
it on. You
Sounds
play it
fun.
on Xbox One or PS4 as well as PC. Although PC,
I'm gonna bet it's easier to play on PC because the mouse.
but you
got used to the Sims on
Contrarily,
console,
I
so.
want to say that I bet Xbox One will surprise you, because the controls are sloppy on the PC already a bit,
Really?
just a bit.
Interesting.
Huh. Okay.
And maybe that's because I dual screen it, and so when I move the mouse to the right, it moves over to my second screen rather than having full four-sided screen functionality.
Yeah.
But
Well, I have been playing Conquer, on Saturday for Saturday Morning Retro. I got very close to the end.
and you've
at
been
the
playing Prey.
Yes, I have been playing Prey on Xbox One, which is a first-person shooter, sci-fi, horror, stealth game.
It's so much fun to watch you play that. I'm not gonna lie.
Because it's like, oh, there's a door. I need to get through that door, but it's locked. So what do? I can hack it. I can find the key for it. I can find my way around it.
You can turn into a cup and fall through like a small crack.
If there's a crack big enough, I can turn it into a thing and go through it.
So kind of like
love that.
Ant-Man?
Which one?
Kind of like Ant-Man?
Sort of, except I don't get bigger and... Oh, I guess I do get bigger and smaller, but it's not bigger and smaller versions of myself. I have to find something nearby, like a coffee mug.
And you mimic the shape.
And then I turn into that coffee mug. And then
and
I
then
can
you
roll it around.
And then you hop around like...
Oh, that's cool.
And
But
it's so cute.
The enemies, though, are mimics. So you don't know if a thing's a mimic until it goes and comes out at you. So you'll go into an office and there's nothing there, and then like maybe a little mug will like go like tink 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 and fall off, and you're like mimic, and I'll go like hit it with a wrench and it won't do anything, and then the bar stool goes and like comes at me.
For the most part, like I watch and I'm not.
Is it scary?
I'm not. It's thriller.
It's thriller. There are times where I've jumped.
I was gonna say. For the most part, I watch and I'm like,
dreadful.
and I'll talk to the screen. I'll talk to Steve-O. And then there's this one time when like this big old monster, like it looks like a mimic, but it's humanoid size, and it just kind of goes, looks at you, and like runs at you, and I was like, oh my, and I full on jumped, and Alicia's like reading in the newspaper, like, what was that, honey? I was like, Jesus, it jumped at me. It was like, oh, I got you, did you? Like she was. Like,
I love your like impersonations of Alicia. Like you're really
my wife is a 40-year-old man with a mustache. Like,
I feel like every response that Alicia has to any of your hijinks, she has a newspaper on hand.
Yeah, there's always a newspaper.
Is that right, honey?
Or like the occasional like, fold it. Okay, listen here.
Set it down with a sigh. That's good.
She's definitely like, and my husband's at it again. Don't break anything. Don't break anything!
So, today, we are going to get into now, full-on, spoiler alert.
No one wants to know the
Speaking
spoilers.
of, I'm going to actually take this off now. It's a little hot, but yes, I appreciate it.
Yeah. And new haircut JB, by the way, for those of you that haven't been to a stream lately. First of all, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom is the follow-up to Jurassic World, as you said. Mm-hmm. The second in a trilogy, a planned trilogy.
Yep.
And this film picks up a few months after the first one left off.
About 3 years.
So here's the quick synopsis of the film, and then we'll go into our breakdown and then start nitpicking away at shit. First of all, the island that the park was on, Jurassic World, from the first one, is going to
explode!
Naturally.
If the island goes less than 60 miles an hour, it explodes.
So if literally everything went fine in the first film, the dinosaurs didn't break out, and they're just making money, they're still all going to explode.
In 3 years.
Yeah. And so that's a bummer. And so first of all, you're going to have to hinge a little bit of like, okay, this plot device, this volcano for the first act of the film, the whole film does not take place around the volcano. But the first act of the film does. Mm-hmm. And you just have to be okay with, that island that we spent that whole last movie on, we're just going to blow it up.
I actually, I can see why the way you bring it up suddenly could be a problem for somebody, but it never had a problem for me. Like, I was like, no, that makes sense. Like, it's one of those chaos theories type things that, like, if it didn't happen like the first movie, something's going to go wrong. Like,
that's fair. That's fair.
It's one of those unknowable things. And I had no problem with them being like, well, it sucks that the Jurassic World totally bombed 3 years ago, but if it didn't, it was going to explode because of the volcano. I'm like, okay. Okay.
What were we going to say, Sarah?
Did they mention a volcano even being on the island in the previous movie?
Well, by virtue of it being an island, it's a volcanic island. But also, everything is powered geothermal. This is mentioned a lot more in the books, which, the movies are based loosely off of. But yes, it's always been known that there's some kind of volcanic activity on the island. It's been dormant for a long time. Did they use
the phrase dormant volcano in the first film?
No. Okay. Didn't mention it whatsoever. But it's based on the islands of Hawaii. It's an island chained in the Pacific Ocean off of Costa Rica. It's a volcano. It's like it was made by volcanoes.
Wait, my geography's wrong. Where's Costa Rica? I thought it was...
it's in the Pacific Islands.
It is in the Pacific Islands?
Yes. Oh, okay. It is not in the Gulf of Mexico next to Cuba or Jamaica.
No, I was thinking more south, but on the Atlantic side.
No, it's...
like near South America.
It's in the Pacific.
Okay, I believe you. My geography is wrong. I'm bad at geography. So, we got to go get dinosaurs off the island because they're all going to die. And you care about this not because, like, there's a little bit of that back and forth, which is, should we care about this?
So the first philosophical question of the movie is brought up.
Right.
And at this point, since they've been brought back to life, should they be given the same essential rights and attention as normal,
endangered
everyday animals? And that, like endangered rhinos, they send people with guns to walk around and patrol with them to keep them from being hunted. Do we need to give them that special attention? Or is this a failed park that needs to and these are part of a park the same way that they could be a roller coaster or something, and that just needs to...
Right.
And first philosophical question, good question, and enjoyed that whole arc.
Ian Malcolm comes back. He sort of frames the film at the beginning and the end, and his I felt like that made sense for him to be like, they need to be left alone, and whatever occurs,
nature selects them for extinction.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So, but characters not having that. They have to go get dinosaurs off because they care about these animals. and
and they're not making any headway whatsoever with public opinion.
Bryce Dallas Howard.
Yeah.
What's her name?
Claire Deering.
Claire.
They're not making any headway whatsoever.
Claire is in the Lockwood, who is apparently one of Hammond's old partners, is sending her to go get them because he has created a refuge that with no fences, which is what the second movie was, right? What the Lost World was, yeah?
So, the second movie was them going to document the dinosaurs to keep people from interfering with the island. Like, okay, we need a complete photo record of the dinosaurs, knowing what they are and how they behave, and that they're not a threat to us, in order to convince governments to leave that place the F alone.
Okay, so it was a refuge. It was not intended to be a park.
It was Site B. It was the MacGuffin of we build and breed the dinosaurs here, and then we send them to the other island.
Okay.
It's the factory floor, I think it's the way Hammond describes it.
Anyway.
So there is structure, there is building in there, but it's mostly scientific. There are a few gates to keep the park safe.
Yeah.
So right there is my first major question. Like, are we addressing the fact that 4 other islands exist, and a volcano on one island erupting would not necessarily destroy 200 miles away another island? Could you not just
move them,
hop them across the water?
I don't remember what happened to the island in the second one, or if they all got off, or if they're all...
They're fine. Like, after Jurassic...
Does 3 take place on the same island as 2?
Yes. And then that's the last we hear of it.
Okay.
That's Isla Sorna.
And 4, or Jurassic World, didn't say anything about...
Didn't mention it.
So this trilogy of movies sort of just ignores the fact that...
It ignores what it wants to ignore, and uses what
in the world set up by the last film by Jurassic World, Jurassic Park failed, and
Jurassic Park 2 took place as well by virtue of them continuing with the Ian Malcolm character.
Right. Yeah, it's a little.
Jurassic Park 3.
You have to ignore
Jurassic Park 3 is still up in the air. Although, by all accounts, from what I've read, people have just been like, no, yeah, I mean, the entire trilogy is one set, and this takes place, and then there's just some sort of, there's a lot of grease and wiggle room that has been allowed to let this whole thing happen. Sure.
So Claire goes and gets Owen. She talks him into going. They go get all the dinosaurs.
And let me pause again. That conversation with Claire and Owen.
I will come back to that.
Okay. Yeah. All right, go ahead. Do your synopsis. I'm so sorry.
You're good.
I'm sitting here like, let me take it back.
They go to get all the dinosaurs off. They've been duped. The dinosaurs are being
sold off.
They're going to be. They're not going to be taken to a refuge at all. And the volcano explodes, and some of the dinosaurs get off with the traffickers, or the poachers, or whatever you want to call them.
Traffickers, yeah.
And the rest of them die.
Oh yeah.
The island is destroyed.
Spooked.
Act 2, they're en route back. They're trying to save Blue, who's been shot. There's getting back to the estate. At the Lockwood estate, where Lockwood doesn't know this is taking place, they are selling off dinosaurs to the highest bidder. Sort of in a weapons.
Use them as weapons.
Yeah,
use them for whatever they want. Hey, Colleen!
Oh, there we go. It was for 13 months, Caldane. Hold on, that was wonky.
Caldane.
Let's give you another one.
Hi, Caldane.
Woot JB, thank you.
And a woot JB. So, the dinosaurs are being sold off
to fund further research into weaponizing them.
Right. And one of the weapons that they've created is called the Indoraptor, which is sort of like Indominus Rex version 2.
Yeah, it's they take more raptor DNA involved,
Yeah.
and they make it smaller, more compact, and they actually give it some military aspects, like the
laser
following the
thing.
laser tracker
Yeah.
and the clicker.
You know, cats will do that. It's all the laser pointer. So it's terrible. I meant who's JB?
Hi, Caldane.
That's JB. I'll give you a close up. Okay.
Hi.
So they get out. They disrupt the meet. They find
They
out
turn into meat.
Lockwood's granddaughter is actually a clone of Lockwood's own daughter, and so that's sort of a. We will get there. We'll get there.
That frustrated me.
And that frustrated you?
Yeah.
Well, it's stupid for it to frustrate us, but I'll explain that in a little bit.
Okay. So then the sale is disrupted. The bad guys are dispatched. Crazy dinosaur is dispatched. But the disruption in the house causes a gas leak. And so now we have next moral quandary. This is the end of the film. So spoiler alert.
It's an essential recap of the first question to be asked.
Right. And this is why I love this film. Is because it told its point at the beginning, and it stuck to its point through the film, and it made its point. Whereas Jurassic World was like, here's a couple points, and we fumbled them, but also we have a lot of product placement in our film, even though we're saying it's bad, and there's a little bit of that.
Man, that brings a good point.
So,
because the question Claire asks the congresswoman or the political figure is, do you want your child to grow up in a world with dinosaurs
or not?
And a child is what made the decision at the end.
So,
damn it!
So we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there too.
Yeah.
Claire and Owen are. Claire wants to let him go. Just let the dinosaurs out into the world.
Hell yeah.
Because they're all about to die. Owen says, once you press that button, you can't undo it.
Yes.
And she backs off, and then the little girl hits it and lets him go. And the movie ends with some really stunning imagery of, like, the megalodon in the ocean, the T-Rex and the lion.
Megalodon?
What's the other one? Somethingsaurus?
Bronchosaurus.
No, Mesosaurus. Mosasaurus.
Megalodon.
You saw the trailer for the Meg right before.
I think that maybe I was
like, what?
That. Yes.
We're just making up some
look, names. Made me spit ice cream all over my keyboard, the one you gave Caldane.
Can I say how it is? You say hi to literally everyone but me. That's
cool.
That's rude. Hi to me, did he?
That's rude.
Oh, he said hi to Shark, though.
Yeah, he did.
He didn't care about us.
Nope.
Okay.
I like it.
Nope.
That's where we're at. The second...
You were my favorite.
Sorry, I'm dying slowly.
That's fine. You're welcome to. on screen.
No,
Good for ratings.
Stop it.
Okay.
Anyway.
Don't die.
We're not that egotistical that we need ratings so bad.
That we have to kill JB.
Only that we need.
So I'll ask you guys to start. Did you like the movie?
Yes, 100%. I liked the movie. I really enjoyed it.
Okay.
But I'm prone to.
Right.
Are we telling our opinion now?
It's just opinion, yeah.
Okay. Well, as Steve-O knows, I literally sobbed through this entire fucking movie to the point where I looked like a goddamn clown. I like ugly girl cried. Like I was literally doing the whole like.
This was not like, oh, I'm sad. This is a sad scene, and I'm streaming tears. I looked over, and she was. like got a call that her mom was in a car accident, like in the middle of the theater, like. It was heavy. So,
and then also I knew I was gonna be judged by Steve-O by crying so much. So then I started doing like this maneuver, like the try to turn away.
It's not that deep.
Like so bad. No, but I cried so much because I just felt so bad for the dinosaurs.
To correct Shark real quick, Shark says the dinosaurs are supposed to be sterile, but we've seen how that isn't always true. Also think of the impact of the environment on releasing an unknown predator. I want to point out the first half of that is not necessarily true. They're not sterile. They are all bred to be female, but then they've clearly been able to genetically swap changes. Now, as for
how they genetically engineer them at this point, I don't know that they do that. They haven't said.
That's all up in the air.
Right.
I completely agree the impact of releasing an unknown predator, which is why the freaking
Which is why the question. Well, that's why the question exists. Is we don't know what's going to happen to the environment.
But we also know, and I swear to God, if they switch this on us at the very, because they're making a Jurassic World 3, they're supposed to make a trilogy. Although at this point, like, what
What is there to make?
What is there to fucking do?
So yeah, and this is one of the things I'll talk about thematically.
Are they going to keep breeding though? There have been multiple releases
I want them to breed and take over
of the herbivores. There's only one of each carnivore released, so I suspect that unless they go the Godzilla 1998, they reproduce asexually shit, like that, it's a one-time thing for the carnivores, but the potential for herbivores to reproduce, except because there's like only 2 of each herbivore, you're gonna get some really inbred, just weird, and whatever. Like, what does a fucking inbred dinosaur look like already? Yeah. Who knows?
So this movie affected you quite a bit because the movie does a good job, I think, and again, this is one of my points for why this is a good film as well as a movie that I really liked. The movie, like the first one was like that was Owen's character these are not monsters, these are animals with social tendencies and behaviors, and they can learn and they can feel. Yeah. But in the first movie, I didn't feel like they really got that across. Every monster was a monster.
They almost did. But they almost got it across.
But in this one, they hammered that home, and they hammered that home so well that at the end of the first act, not the end of the film, at the end of the first act, people are crying in the movie theater. And not just Sarah. Like, other people, there were literal, like, oh my God, like, behind us and stuff. Like, there were reactions in the film. And so, I think that it was extremely well done. And so, did you like it? I know that it affected you. Did you like the movie, or did you not like the movie? Because...
Well... I don't know.
That's a tough question.
Like, I guess I liked it, but I don't know that I'll ever want to watch it again.
That's okay. You can have a one-time like.
It made me, like, so sad. Like I said, I was crying nonstop. And then, like, what is his name again? Stiggy? Like, Stiggy, I
can't remember the name of that breed.
I turned and looked to my friend Brittany, and I was literally like, if Stiggy dies, I'm leaving this movie theater immediately.
Like, Haldane's cracking me up over here.
Oh, the police, you sort of wash up on shore and see a false
statue. You gotta read his previous...
Damn dirty apes because the...
When are we gonna get a Planet of the Apes versus Jurassic Park crossover movie?
Ooh, I'd watch that'd be cool. Hell yeah.
I would literally not. I would not watch that at all.
Yes.
If it were up to me, dinosaurs would kill everybody.
Haldane! Damn you to hell! You did it! You blew it up!
I could see that being like, JB is like the last gutter nerd to exist in the planet, and when he comes back from outer space, he sees like a statue of like Haldane where the Lincoln Memorial used to be.
And like, he's in one hand he's petting a raptor, the other hand he's got an ape or something. I don't know.
we put Haldane in the movie. Anyway, yeah, I did very much like the film. For the sort of the reason I stated beforehand, it followed its own theme, it got its point across, and it did it effectively. And the thing, though, is that if they set up the third film for dinosaurs to be now in the wild on Earth, in society, out wherever in the ecology, which you see, the stinger of the film after the credits shows that they...
And by the way, fuck them for doing that.
What?
Because every other Jurassic Park does not have a stinger. We don't need stingers. Stingers, I think... And I hate for saying this, belongs to like the Marvel and DC comic book movies. It's a thing they do because they're alluding to the next of a giant continued universe. They don't fucking need it.
The King Kong Godzilla movies have them as well.
Right, but that's an expanded universe set. They're alluding to the other movies.
So here's why I like it, is because the stinger is something that takes place later. It's not a random added scene just for bullshit.
I feel like some of them are.
But this was a random added scene for bullshit.
Well, this is what I'm saying is all the dinosaurs are let go in the same place, like in California or wherever they take, right?
California, somewhere like
North
that.
California?
Somewhere around that.
And so time passes during the credits, and the final stinger we see is that they're spreading. They're not just all in California, they're out in the world. They're in Vegas, like the scene in Vegas where they land. So the point of the stinger being, next time you show up, they're out everywhere. They're around. Right?
Maybe, yeah. It depends on where they go with Jurassic World 3. It really does.
To be honest, stingers don't affect me at all. Like,
you could just leave them all together.
Before I even started dating Steve-O, I don't know that I'd ever watched a stinger in my entire life. Oh, God. Like, I didn't even really know what they were, to be honest. I just always was like, oh, movie done, bye.
Only recently has Alicia been using the word stinger because she's like, are there like any like a long time ago when we started dating, are there only like those after the credits scenes? Mm-hmm. And I go, oh yeah, they got stingers. And then I told her, I was like, yeah, it's a stinger, kind of like the end of a bee, you know, it's the very tail end of a movie. She goes, oh, that's cool. And then she was talking to her friend, yeah, no, this movie totally has stingers at the end of it. It's pretty great. Oh yeah, it's like a bee. And she was like describing it to another friend, and I was like, oh my, did she just...
She sponged in information.
And it's stupid things like that
I'm not surprised that she did, by the way.
I was like, Jesus Christ!
That she, no, my wife is not a geek. Yeah. She's a nerd, but not a geek. And the fact that she did like those small things.
We do need something to hope for in this world. And Callie's right. The singers are not going away.
I
love them.
for dinosaurs to take over.
I think that it's
in any.
I didn't need
in
it
any blockbuster movie, in anything that's meant to be fantastical and entertaining. I'm cool with stingers, especially if you're world building. You know, the end of the Ghostbusters reboot had a stinger. Like I said, the Godzilla King Kong. So if you're franchising and intending to serialize your films, give me something to hope for. Give me something to shoot for.
Okay.
Give me a reason to watch all the 30,000 names that worked on your film. Anyway, we're sidetracked a little bit.
So that movie.
So first of all, I had a problem at first. My first irk issue with the film was, by the way, there are a few general movie things about the film that you may go like, oh, that's not quite right. If you're looking for plot holes, though, there's not a whole lot. Everything's pretty cohesive.
This is a pretty airtight.
Film.
As movies go, as Jurassic movies go, this one's pretty airtight.
There are some things like if you are in the water and lava is coming into the water, it's probably going to boil the water, like the surrounding water.
Yeah.
Right? So they have died. Like, technically speaking, when the lava, everything explodes and they fall into the water.
Every Jurassic movie that has or involves a cliff has such major physics fuck-ups.
Yeah, but also that's a movie thing in general.
At this point, I think they're going like, okay, now when we have them fall off the cliff, we need to have some wacky fucking nonsensical bullshit take place. Because that's what we do at Jurassic Park. We don't know how physics works around cliffs and dinosaurs.
Well, the thing that bothered me at first was Claire goes to get Owen because Owen, Chris Pratt, his character, she needs him to track Blue. Because even if they get all the dinosaurs, Claire has to go to activate the trackers because she used to work there.
Freaking rehash of their first encounter in Jurassic World. We used to date, but we're not dating anymore.
That was dumb.
I was like, guys, we don't need this from you.
You don't need the relationship tension still.
Again.
I guess, but there were some things that came out of it, though, that I really liked. There are a lot of subtleties in this movie that the last one didn't have. Like, Owen is building a house. It is never referred to. They never have a conversation about it. You just see him hammering a house, but they have a conversation about how she didn't want to live in the van. He's obviously building her the house. Yeah. Like, her a place to come back to. And the movie just lets that sit. And that's really cool.
I don't know that I agree with that necessarily.
Really?
I think it's cool. I like that you thought about that. And part of me goes, oh, I could totally accept that in my head. I don't know if that was the intent.
The intent of the film?
I think they were just like, he's fucking building a house because he's an outdoors man on his own kind of guy.
No, I thought he was building it for her because the way they referenced it a couple of times.
Don't get me wrong. Now that you bring it up, I'm totally on board for that, but I don't know that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's fair. It could have just been shitty filmmaking, like, okay, have him do some handyman shit.
God, here's them big buddy arms.
But when they go to have their conversation, in the last film, she had to, learn that people are not numbers, that the dinosaurs are not numbers, and not
like,
monsters.
These are living things.
And this time it's flipped. And at first, I didn't like it because I was like, that's not Chris Pratt, because he said, yeah, let him die. And I was like, that's not your character.
No. This is it. He always has, and I'm not saying this is the moral high ground, but he has the moral high ground above her every single time. So the first time she's like, this asset is out of containment. He's like, this dinosaur is out of containment, whatever. Like, that's not the actual. And then this time she's like, the dinosaurs need to survive. And he's actually like, no, they're going to totally fuck up the world if they come here. Yeah, I love Blue, and Blue needs to die. Like, the volcano needs to... Everything needs to go on its way. Like, yeah.
So,
she appeals to his fathering nature.
Well, maybe he didn't want to have to live always hiding from dinosaurs or
he was prepared. He was the he was the stern father who's like we got to put the dog down. Versus no, we can't. We have to, send it to the vet and try and take care of it. He's like, no, the fucking thing's dead. It's gonna die. We need to put it down.
Right, and that holds suit all the way through because at the end he's the one that's cautioning her against letting him out. But at first I had a problem with it because it didn't feel like character growth or character change. It felt like they just didn't know who he was. But because they had both flipped in a way where she was a lot more compassionate now, and he had sort of been like, you say it's come from a place of like wisdom or compassion, that I felt like it was like, no, I've been hurt by this.
I don't feel like it was the character flip.
After his experiences in the first movie,
you don't think so?
No, I don't think it was a character flip because he was also one of the ones who was always most concerned about the people there, like in the park and all of that stuff.
You need to get them off this island.
He was always looking out for like the humans. Like he did have compassion towards the dinosaurs, yes. But he also was always looking out for humans, and the simple fact of the matter is that if you let dinosaurs loose with humans that have not been trained necessarily like Blue, even Blue eats humans. Like
his common sense was never overwhelmed by his compassion. Like in the first movie, he's like, I'm very compassionate towards these animals. These are animals. I'm training them because we want to see the intellectual capacity of the raptors. I love them. And that is further expanded on in the movie, by the way, in this new movie, the raptor training, which
all those scenes were so good.
Oh my gosh!
So like he has compassion for him, but his common sense is like, get him. In the first movie, get him off the island. Like this thing is a wild animal. It's
it is an animal, but it will kill you.
It's experiencing this environment for the whole time. It's a combination of genes and traits and characteristics of a whole bunch of dinosaurs, so it doesn't know what it is. It has no basis of learning how to behave. Mm-hmm. And in this movie...
You watched that movie a lot.
Oh, totally.
That was nearly verbatim.
Yeah, it was.
And in this next movie, he has compassion for him, clearly, because she appeals to his compassion for Blue.
Right.
Yeah.
But his common sense was initially his... common sense came first. I have all the compassion for Blue. These things are dangerous. Our experience on the last item told him this. The raptors, who I had a lot of affection for, went bucko wild and killed a lot of guys. I'm accepting the fact that these dinosaurs are not safe for the mainland.
Okay.
Gotta let them die. But she appealed to his compassion and he jumped on board.
But then I think he thought, even then, that it was fine for the dinosaurs to die, but you know what, if we can save this one and it can go to a good home, then I would do that.
Right. And once it was established that they were going to an oasis, another, what's it called, a haven.
Yeah.
That he was like, okay, I will help you track Blue. We'll get some of these dinosaurs off, put them on another island. Bada bing, bada boom. We can do that.
Right.
And so his compassion was addressed. His common sense was satisfied.
Yeah.
And he's always been that character.
Yeah.
And in that sense, he's always crossed with her. He has the ability to cross opinion with her regardless of where she is.
So when the island is being destroyed by the volcano, the animals are sort of naturally being killed, I guess.
Yeah.
But it sort of comes on the heels of the poachers and the traffickers, like jacking a bunch of them. There's a scene at the end of Act 1 where they're going away and there's the Brachiosaurus and it's being enveloped by smoke and lava. And this, you said this is a reference to the first film.
It was an absolute reference to the first dinosaur to really make an appearance, besides the raptor in the intro to Jurassic Park, was the Brachiosaurus. It's the first time where they were like, it's a dinosaur. And
when they first get back to the park, the first one they see is a Brachiosaur too. So there's
there's a double reference, because the first dinosaur they see in Jurassic World, Fallen Kingdom, really is the Brachiosaur. Just like in the dinosaur that the main characters see in Jurassic Park is the Brachiosaur, but also the Brachiosaur rears up to eat off of the tree, which I could go into a whole genetic, it's not capable of doing it, its hind legs, blah, 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 but it was an iconic scene.
Right.
And the good, and the best way they could have said, that's how we said hello to the island.
So we're saying goodbye.
And this is how we say goodbye, and the Brachiosaur is like rushing to the dock, and it's like, save me, or it's just panicking. And then the smoke envelops it, and you see its shadow, and it fucking rears up again. This time it rears up in, like, pain.
Uh-huh.
As the lava and smoke and ash hit it, and it clearly dies in the next scene. And I was like, I like that was for me. I was just like,
well done.
Wow.
Well done. I got a little misty.
That was the moment when I was like, I hate this fucking movie.
I got a little misty. I looked over, Sarah's bawling. And then I part of the reason that this movie I think did so well is because I watched it with Sarah, who is a very big animal person.
Yep.
So I sort of was feeling her reaction to it, which is what the movie wanted you to do, that these creatures are animals. They're not all monsters. And so they get off, they try to save Blue, they have to get the transfusion from the T-Rex. And you
that
don't...
bothered you?
A lot.
Why?
What's the problem?
The science behind
I
it
thought
is
it was
the blood science behind it is like painfully stupid, and we need a carnivore. It needs to have two fingers.
They said it needs to have 2 fingers?
They said it needs to have like 3 or less fingers.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay.
Does it?
And I guess what they're doing is because there's no sense of knowing, like there's no scientific pursuit of what dinosaur blood was like. So what they did is they gave like a pseudo-scientific, like, okay, she is a paleo veterinarian, and I'm going to give some subtle, I would know this because I'm a paleo veterinarian. And whether or not it's physically true, her knowledge of it suggests expertise.
Right. The idea that maybe there's there's more common ancestry in animals that share similar characteristics.
Yeah.
Right?
And so and part of me is like, okay, that's their it's showing that she knows how to take care of the animals, that she's an expertise.
And she did have a Dr.
character.
Sattler moment, which is another sort of subtle reference to the first film where he's like, you sure you want to go out there, little lady? And she's basically, like she doesn't say we can have a discussion about gender in the workplace later. But she's
sexism in survival situations.
Yeah. But she says basically I fucking can take care of myself. I'm good. And so, but that reminded me of the Ellie Sattler moment with Hammond in the first one.
So, like, that sequence kind of makes me roll my eyes, like...
The blood one?
Like, and I won't say that I dislike it. I'll say that I am slowly acclimating myself to it. It's like I jumped into a really hot bathtub, and I'm like, and I'm just trying to get comfortable. Right. Like, because I'm like, sure. And it definitely does pull a plot twist down the line when they're trying to get blood from Blue. And she's like... Actually, this guy's a fucking blood cocktail, bitch.
Yeah.
It's part dinosaur, part T-Rex, part raptor. And I'm like, oh, like the Indominus Rex.
Yeah, Blue has T-Rex blood in him now.
For a little while. It'll get eked out.
Yeah.
It'll get processed out.
But so now they're imprisoned.
Didn't give her like super fucking powers, so she's like, I'm so fucking amped!
Oh, real quick, I'm actually going to pause for a couple of points that one of my friends on Facebook wanted to make.
Okay.
He was annoyed that the Allosaurus was useless, which I think is that one of the carnivores?
The horned one.
The horned one, yeah.
And I'm not sure if that's Allosaurus or Carnotaurus. I'm not sure.
He said the Allosaurus was useless. I don't know if he likes specific... If you like specific dinosaurs, want them to do specific things. So if you were wanting to see a Dilophosaurus in this film, and that was his other complaint, he said the Dilophosaurus was a cock tease because at the beginning, not at the beginning, but into the film somewhat, they show the statues of them.
That's what I was telling you.
So the foreshadowing...
The Dilophosaurus, I was like, well, it exists in the same way that they have a hologram of it in the first Jurassic World.
Right. And then they never show.
I mean...
If you have a favorite dinosaur... It may not be in this film. And you're right,
Shark, suspension of disbelief, and I'm definitely a dummy for having like high expectation here and low like it's a fucking dinosaur clone movie, and they're doing the best they can, and I should be able to go, okay, they're gonna blood fusion a carnivore with another carnivore.
Game guy!
Hey, game guy, welcome in.
I'm here now. Time to party.
So yeah, so at this point, I'm now like caring very much for the animals. I can sort of feeling this through Sarah's perspective and like. Actually really giving a shit now. And so they use that Packy, or maybe it's not a
It's
Packy.
not a...
Stiggy.
It is not a...
What they're referring to as Stiggy.
It's not a Pachycephalosaurus.
But it's the one with the domed head.
It's like a Stigmilligliodon or something. I can't remember. It's a really complicated name for even me to say.
Dinosaur gets them out and they fuck shit up. There were a couple of also political references, did you catch? Like recent event... little subtle nods.
I didn't get it.
Okay, so the guy who's running the thing,
Yeah.
The auction.
Auctioneer?
You remember when like the dinosaur roars, the Indoraptor roars, and like his hair sort of blows back? He's got like the Trump cut, and he's got like a red tie.
Oh.
So there's sort of a little like slight nod there, like the way that in that video where Trump's hair blew up with the wind.
Yeah.
And also there's the head guy, the head hunter guy who's pulling teeth.
You know who he's from? You know where he's from?
What?
He's freaking Silence of the Lamb, like, do you think I'm sexy?
Hi, Crazy Smurf.
Is it really?
Yeah. He's also in...
Hey, Smurf!
He's also in the Monk show. He's the police officer who hires Adrian Monk to solve all his crimes.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
Good actor, poor role.
When he's talking to
not
the...
poor role. There's a couple of really awesome scenes. Keep going.
Well, there's a part where he yells at the paleo veterinarian to do something. He's like, give me a blood sample.
Or I'll fucking kill
she's-
you myself. I'm like...
Well, she's like, I'm not your bitch. You can get your own blood sample. He goes, nasty woman, which is, specific phrasing
I saw
used
that
from,
and I was like, ha.
from the 2016 presidential election. So there were a few, there are a lot of subtleties in the film.
Yeah.
References to the first one, some political references and stuff that are pretty interesting. And this is why, I was like, oh, wow, this is a thoughtful film. It is a little more paced because Act 2 is not a lot, there's not a lot of action. There's not a lot of survival. It's mostly sort of chatty, talky, we're in prison, we're going to get out kind of thing. Lockwood, who is someone who used to work with Hammond, has a daughter, and they sort of set it up to maybe that's either Lex or maybe Ellie or someone, because he says specifically, or she asks her grandpa, somebody asks him,
Did she ever go to the
her
original?
mom ever go to the park? And he said yes, once. And so the sort of feint is that it's someone we know.
Which means Lockwood, this happens before Jurassic Park, before the entire story of Jurassic Park, back when Lockwood and Hammond are still partners.
Right.
That's clearly when it had to happen, and they were just teasing at you, and making you really excited for a moment.
But the point and the twist is that she is a clone because Lockwood wanted to use the technology that they used to clone dinosaurs to bring his daughter back. So he cloned his daughter and referred to her as his granddaughter.
Right.
This is something that I do like, and because this is what I like what the second movie did, is it's taking us somewhere. So we're moving along. Now the dinosaurs are out. Now we can use technology on people. This is all of the shit that Ian Malcolm was warning about in the first film, where everything is going out of control. So this is yes, now the third film, I don't even know what the fuck they're going to do there. That's going to be hard to do if they're going to try and keep that tone of dinosaurs or animals, because it can't be a human dinosaur war.
There's
that
only
doesn't make
20
sense.
of them. But also what we're thinking is a sequel that immediately takes place after, and not a sequel that takes place 3 years after, where somebody probably captured a dinosaur and is doing something with it.
I have no idea where the third
The third
one's gonna
movie
go.
could be
Do you have any idea where the third movie's going to go?
Well, we'll address that. I want to keep going.
Okay.
So.
Oh, at this point, the Stiggy, that was your favorite character in this second half of the film, Sarah?
Yes.
And what you said to us beforehand, how did you feel about Stiggy?
Oh, I just said that if in the movie theater, I said if Stiggy dies, I was walking out.
Yeah, because there's a lot of animals in peril in this film. Even the animals are all dinosaurs, but they are. And so I was thinking that I was like, I really hope they don't shoot that little dinosaur, because Sarah's gonna flip shit. And then with Blue, Blue takes part in the action similar to the way Blue does in the first one. And I had that feeling near the end. I was like, oh Christ, if Blue dies, I'm gonna lose my shit.
And that slow-mo fall, I was like, shit, that's the first time slow-mo's been done in a Jurassic movie, which, up until now, they have a theme and a style of choreography, of cinematography, and then they did the glass breaks into slow-mo, and I was like, oh my god, they're doing slow-mo. And I had a moment of hating it, and then realizing they're doing it because they need you to they're both falling. How are they going to end up landing on the fucking spikes? And which one's going to die and which one's not? Is Blue going to die? Is the Indo going to get slightly hurt and then they finish it off? What's going to be and then the Indo dies and Raptor's standing and Blue's standing on it fucking yeah! And I was like, that's what I want! That's what I want!
Yeah, that was pretty big. And again, this was something at the end of the Jurassic World. And yeah, Cal, welcome in, Corporate Cal. Yeah, type it up. And Shark mentions, she said sheep on her front lawn before and didn't know what to do. So people reacting to dinosaurs has that what the fuck aspect to it.
One part that did bother me though was when the new dinosaur that they created, Indoraptor, crawls into her bed, or is creeping into her bed because
that's another Trump thing. He was trying to grab her by the pussy.
I don't think that was a reference. Go ahead.
Anyway, so
a little much.
That derailed me.
I just realized I was referring to a child. So I feel like.
Did you feel like it wouldn't be that sneaky? Like it was done to be creepy, but it didn't make sense for the dinosaur to be doing it, or what bothered you about it? Or was it just very creepy and you were unsettled by it?
No, because any other human that was even near it for 5 seconds, it was just gonna chop its head off immediately. So I felt like the dinosaur wouldn't have slow motion creeped. I feel like it just would have fucking seen her and been like, "You're my dinner."
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for what I said.
That's my cat at that remark. Most of the movie was trash. They named the movie what it actually should have been, which is Jurassic Mansion. The title's not so very well, so they made up a name for it.
So here's
What's your nickname, Game Guy?
For JB? No, I don't know what Game Guy's nickname for me is. I don't at all.
Oh, sorry.
So no, you knew.
I figured that Calvin was going to like it.
No.
But it is different. The movie is taking it somewhere.
I think to address Sarah's concern, I think what would have sold me a little more is if the laser dot had accidentally triggered on the girl, and he was he
was trying to,
and he was okay, well now I have to hunt her down, and so the fact that it ignored all things, climbed to the roof, and then climbed down to her room was it's after her. But it never did that. Instead, it was just man, I escaped. All right, I took a guy's arm off. I fucked around. I messed up stuff, and I'm gonna go kill that girl. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
And it kind of just immediately directed itself on her needlessly.
Yeah.
So,
hi, Robotical Nick.
I'm glad. Hey, Robotical Nick.
Now here's my concern. Here's the one thing I wish changed a little. So this movie, and so far you're doing a great job of convincing me to like this movie more.
Sure.
Well, I liked this movie. I enjoyed this movie. I'm bound to enjoy these kind of movies.
Sure.
You're making me think better of it already. So well done on that.
Sure.
The first Jurassic World movie was what would happen if Jurassic Park was successful? If the first movie was successful. Mm-hmm. The second Jurassic World movie is at least the first half of it is what would happen if the second Jurassic Park movie was successful. Right? They are mirroring in many ways the original movie.
Trilogies?
Yeah. So movie 2 is mirroring movie 2 of the Jurassic Park trilogy.
At least the first half.
Right. They're pulling dinosaurs off, this time for morally pro reasons versus morally bad reasons, although in the end it becomes...
Yeah, the twist is that it's still bad, but...
Yeah. And then the last half is, okay, now we're going to take it our own way.
Right.
The problem I had a little bit was we're going to take it our own way. This time we're going to do a hybrid dinosaur. I was they just did that.
Yeah, they did.
But, yeah.
And they made this one more raptor than Rex. And it had it, and instead of it wrecking a park, it was in your fucking house, which is supposed to make a kid afraid of dinosaurs in their own house.
Right.
Versus being afraid of, I'm scared of Six Flags. It's now I'm scared of dinosaurs in a place where I'm supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
Where you should be safe. Yeah.
So I love that.
And
I feel
so
like they're kind of Sharknadoing us a little.
Every film has an element of kid to it, right? Every film so far has featured children in some way. And in the worst way was, to me, Jurassic World. I thought Jurassic Park 3's use of kid was way better than Jurassic World.
Kid was a survivor. He was a hoss.
Right.
I liked him.
But in this one, the kid exists again. And for a few reasons, there's peril, being safe in your own place, and then not, which is where the third movie is going to be on a much bigger scale. But also, she has to make the childish decision that they can't make as adults at the end. And that's why I'm glad that she's there, and she did that, because it
wasn't a childish decision.
It is. It's that selfish feeling.
What?
It's not.
I don't think that means it's childish.
It's not childish bad. It's childish in that it's the somewhat innocent, somewhat ignorant of repercussions. It's they're dinosaurs. They're in trouble. Beep.
Right. And
versus the we let them out, they're gonna fuck up neighborhoods and kill people and break zoos and eat lions.
Right.
Like,
so we,
like Owen and
as
Claire
much
were
as
like,
we want to,
we can't.
Well, Claire was about to, and like, I really want to because I feel like this is the right thing to do. And Owen being the voice of cold reason, which is you can't let them out. He didn't tell her what she could or couldn't do. He just said, once you do that, you can't undo it. And she's like, you're right. We have to sacrifice them. I don't fucking care. And the girl who was the, the morally correct decision to make, but absent of repercussion. Also, she had a link to it because now she knows she's a clone. And so she's like,
oh, yeah, she does.
Yeah, because she's like, they're like me. I am a person, and these are animals, and they deserve a chance to live. And so
that was a cute thing.
But that was why she had to be there, and that had to happen because Claire couldn't. If Claire had pushed the button, it would have been like crazy. But it makes more sense to me for a kid to do that.
Okay, so I like that. I get that perhaps is the saving grace of her being a clone. I know that they needed to find a reason for Lockwood and Hammond to have a disagreement. They're introducing Lockwood to introduce some sort of continued business aspect of InGen. Yeah. He's the other half of InGen that was never really mentioned because Hammond took over when they split up. And this is their attempt to explain the split up was because he was like, wait, I can clone dinosaurs? Maybe I can clone my own daughter. And Hammond was like, oh no, fuck that.
And Cal didn't like it. And there are going to be plenty of you that do not like this film. Because it goes in a different direction, does something different. But the tone of this trilogy is Jurassic World. It's not Jurassic Park 4. Okay? So it's not about the park. Or 5. Well, Jurassic World was not Jurassic Park 4. Right? So the whole idea, apparently what Colin Trevorrow wanted to do, sort of to begin with, is where we are now. And the studio wanted him to go back to the park and do that thing. So he did the park, and then used the second movie to take it further into the Jurassic World. That this is, But this is what I love. I love progression. I love the progression in setting and story. Part of the reason why I liked Dollhouse so much, which is an old Joss Whedon show, is the show is about people that submit like 8 years of their lives to have their consciousness erased from them, and they can get implanted with different personalities. So you can be a hitman, or a ski instructor, or a hooker, or whatever they need you to do in whatever situation, and you are rented out as a person for whatever needs to be done. But that technology goes haywire. And so it becomes almost a post-apocalyptic zombie show because it goes somewhere. And so having a 5th or 6th movie about a tropical island where dinosaurs are and they have to survive it, to me, I'm ready for something else.
That's a good point. You're ready for, yeah.
On top of which, like I said, it's not called Jurassic Park 4 or 5 or 6. It's Jurassic World. So we have to go somewhere. And
this brings me to one of my most final thoughts, opinions, what have you about it, that convinced me that, like no matter how bad this movie could have been or is, or how much I might have hated it, it could never ruin Jurassic Park for me. And this is what I want. This is kind of my end thing. So I don't know if you want. How much longer we got in the podcast?
We've got to wind down. So you're good.
So I had a conversation with a friend of mine, Nathan, who says how much he hated Star Wars Rogue One. He think it essentially ruins and butchers the Star Wars universe. I want
to know what he feels about Solo.
He's not going to see it. He refuses to see it. He refuses to see any independent Star Wars.
Any spin-off.
Yeah. Because of this. Because, the borrowing of characters and borrowing of scenes from the first Star Wars movie that were then kind of, taped in, when they were red, yellow team, go in, and they took footage from the original Star Wars New Hope and stuff like that. Loads of things that he did not like about this movie that I find interesting, and in some ways justifiable. In some ways, I'm also like, who cares? I enjoy the movie.
Sure.
And that's what clicked with me. And he's like, it's starting to ruin Star Wars for me. And I'm like, you can't ruin Jurassic Park for me. Right. Jurassic Park for me, is the reason I am who I am and what I am today. As a kid, the fascination of sci-fi has stuck with me through adulthood. I love sci-fi movies. The fascination of science is why I'm a science teacher. the moral questions behind science, the should we just because we can, do we play God, where is the moral line, has stuck with me. But also like the excitement, the I'm 30 years old, my wife has embraced the fact that I love dinosaurs, like everything in my life is in some way dinosaur based. My friends know to go out and get me like, hey, I saw this thing, thought of you, and it's a T-Rex doll. Like, all of this has not changed because I grew up. Like, I'm like, man, you know what? The things that influenced me and made me excited and enjoyable and are what makes me who I am today. And I can't have that be undone. And that can't be undone for me.
And this is what I say to people when they get upset about a reboot. They didn't delete your old copies of your old films. You can go back and watch the one you like.
I'm not that old. Shoot it.
But yeah, like, Game Guy does want his General Grievous and Republic Commando movies, by the way.
But like...
Nope.
No matter how bad this movie's going to be, it's not going to change the fact that, holy shit, Jurassic Park is good.
Yeah.
And at this point, all I'm thinking is, I walked into this movie with pretty medium to low expectations. Just like, it's not going to be a great movie, but man, am I going to have fucking fun. And I walked out going, I don't know if I thought that was a great movie. Still don't know if I think it's a good movie. You've convinced me that it's a better movie than I thought, at least. But I know that from the first second to the last scene, I had so much fun.
And I went in from the trailers thinking that it was going to be trash because I thought it was all going to be... I was right about a couple things. That rooftop scene in the rain in the trailer, I was like, oh, that's the final confrontation, and that's annoying. And I was right. But I thought that the whole movie was going to stink of rotten garbage because, oh, the island's exploding now randomly? This is going to be a random series of bullshit. And to me, that, like I said, as we've laid out today, you may not like where they went. Cal clearly didn't. And that is a valid point. You don't like where they went with it. This is not going to be a thing for you. But I like that it was thoughtful, that it stuck to its points, and it didn't talk out both sides of its mouth like the first one, and was very competently directed. And also, it is literally the only Jurassic Park movie to make us cry. Is effective.
Well,
Sarah, what are your final thoughts on
I do have one more, but I don't want to interrupt Sarah. I have...
I think I pretty much said everything.
Yeah.
I definitely would have pushed the button. Just saying.
You would have pushed. You would have let
Sarah,
him go?
you are a button pusher. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, that is a good question. Like that needs to be on people's OkCupid profile.
Would you push?
Would you have pushed the button at the end of Jurassic World?
No, I wouldn't have.
I 100% would have.
I
would have hit it without even thinking. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. If a dinosaur came and ate my whole family, I would think, wow, it's really cool dinosaurs are alive. I would.
I love it.
Obviously I'd be sad, but
David, will you hand me the fan cam, please?
Sure.
And give us your final point.
A couple things I want to point out. One, this movie does, I forget the name of the director, but he did his research because there were a lot of good homages to Jurassic Park. Like the dummy butler, she's struggling as the Indoraptor's chasing at her. The Brachiosaur rearing up. There's a lot more, and I can't think of them now. But a lot of scenes where I was like, this guy knew Jurassic Park when he directed it. Yeah. And I like that. Better than the way Jurassic World made homages.
No, yeah, the Jurassic World felt like it was made by someone who was told about Jurassic Park. And the second movie was made by someone who loved Jurassic Park.
Now, the second thing I'll say, the opening sequence to this movie, everything that led up to the Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom title was pure gold. That opening sequence when they're coming in the Mosasaur in the submarine, and I'm like
the opening sequence was very Jurassic
fucking scared again.
Yeah.
This movie made me scared again for a few times. And that scene when the guy's working on the box, okay, I opened it and the submarine comes, and then you see the lightning strike and you see the flash of light and you see the T-Rex and it goes dark.
It's really good.
I remember being like, if this is the movie the whole way through, if they decide to go, you know what, fuck it, let's make a horror movie. I was edge of my seat, this is impressive.
The opening scenes are good.
The opening scene could have been, it's if it ended there and was some guy did a short fan film, that was good.
But this is good. But this is why, again, this is my defense of the film, is that everything was done with subtlety and thought. And even those little touches were not center screen. You saw the dude and you see it in the background when it flashes. Like you see it, but it's not like. And by the way, there's a T-Rex coming. It's.
But yeah,
anyway.
So there are a couple things I didn't like about it. Like, I did not like that they went with another hybrid, and we're going to start using these things for war, and I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. Mm-hmm. But part of me is holding on to what I loved about Jurassic Park and is afraid to let go. And you pointed out progress of the movie versus a rehash of something we know and love.
Right.
Would be
to top it off, they used more puppetry and stuff than CG in last time, and their CG was very well done, so it looked 1,000 times better.
So in the end, I think in this conversation you got me convinced to definitely take a second look at this movie.
Excellent. Good.
And I'm gonna love it no matter what. I'm gonna buy the damn Blu-ray.
Course. Yeah.
But now I can like it.
It was weird. JB had a thought that I was gonna have the reverse reaction than what I did, and that was pretty funny.
You and I could go see movies and always have a good conversation.
And Shark has a good point about going just to see the impossible go wild too. Just going and having fun.
That's true.
So this is the last thing that we do on the podcast before we call it a night. We go to the Gutter Nerds Fan Can. This is a list of random questions that people ask. You can redeem your nerd cred if you're watching on Twitch. If you're listening on podcast or watching on YouTube, you can tweet us at Gutter Nerds using hashtag FanCan. Choose a question, add in here. We'll draw a random. We're going to draw two tonight. One from me and one from Sarah. So the first question is... this is why does Calvin suck so much? But it's from Catherine with a little heart. So this was asked by a dear friend, a longtime friend of Calvin's who saw us at a table, and asks why he sucks so much. I think that he just needs a little more love. A big, fat, sweaty, sticky hug.
You know that song by, I think it's LITV, My Own Worst Enemy, the Please Tell Me Why. I feel like that song is Calvin in many ways. My car is in the front now. He doesn't suck. Calvin is just unapologetically himself. And he is a well-meaning guy through and through, but has... Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I think he is obviously...
I agree with the first part.
No, seriously. I absolutely adore Calvin in every way. He is also, I think that he has to deal with a lot of people ragging on him so hard, and so he's built up defenses. And sometimes he has to go on the offense to prepare himself. So we have created our Indo Calvin.
No, we have deep love for our podcast mate Calvin. Suck the negativity into himself so the rest of us can be happy. That's what he does. He's the tank. He's the emotional absorption.
Damn.
For the Shark painted Cal in a really altruistic light.
Well done.
Well done, Shark.
Speaking of Shark, Meg, I'm going to see that with you. I want you and me to watch that movie.
What do we got next?
In a grudge match between Taki, Soul Calibur, and Chucky.
And Chun-Li.
Oh, and Chun-Li. I heard this Chucky. Who wins?
So Chun-Li from Street Fighter versus Taki, Soul Calibur.
So these characters, for the record, if you're unfamiliar with them, Taki and Soul Calibur is a ninja who wears the red garb.
And she fights with tiny little...
kunai or something, maybe?
Kunai daggers.
Yeah. And then Chun-Li is the one from Street Fighter with the blue, with the buns in her hair,
Spinning
with the high kicks and stuff. So who wins between...
I'm going to go with the ninja one. But I don't really know much about these characters.
Yeah.
I have played both games enough to appreciate both characters. I think Chun-Li would fucking curb stomp Taki. Taki is dealing with weapons, and granted, Soul Calibur, they play lethally, whereas in Street Fighter, they tend to be more brawly, non-lethal.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I think if Beast was unleashed, Chun-Li would take Taki and break her teeth on the curb.
Okay.
With her freaking thunder thighs of glory.
I think this would be a good Monty fight. Rest in peace, Monty. He was a choreographer, and he made a lot of CG films of sort of what-if battles of like Metroid versus Halo and
Final Fantasy
versus Dead or Alive. So this would be... I think it would be 50-50. I think Taki would win.
Why do you think...
I give her a slight edge.
What's the tipping scale?
Because I think she's... I always sort of go stealth. Whoever uses more stealth,
but if you've seen any cutscene whatsoever, anytime somebody comes at with Chun-Li with stealth, she's jumps out of the way, and then they're like,
Oh, short swords, Taki.
You wasted your stealth on me. Fight! And then, think about it. Every single time Taki attacks someone, it's always in a one-on-one fight where they're facing her. Her stealth is shit.
Did you ever play Street Fighter?
It's possible.
Sarah? I was gonna ask if you remembered a character that you played, like one that you.
I don't know.
I don't know. I'm trying to remember who I don't think I had a character in Street Fighter.
Chun-Li would win.
Soul Calibur though.
Soul Calibur, and Taki is always fighting her opponent in the daylight in front of them. There is no stealth involved.
Right.
She's a ninja, but she's more like a ninja. You know what I'm saying?
No. Lord.
That was from Speed Racer.
Oh. Oh.
More like a ninja.
Gotcha. Okay, well, guys, I do recommend you go see it.
If you want to see, if you're in Funky Town for this next week, because I am all the way until the 8th, any Funky Town friends who want to go see it, I will go see it again.
Would you recommend it, Sarah?
Yeah.
Good. Then we're going to...
Sorry. Shark calls Blanca, which is now, I realize, the much better version of Blanca. Like, Blanca going to Blanca. I'm hungry.
Gigi, I'll give it to him. I'm going to give him his stuff.
We're going to give it to him after this.
Yeah.
Yep.
So thanks for hanging out, guys. If you haven't yet, follow us on social media. It's down there on the bottom right. It's Go to Nerds everywhere you go. Share us with someone if you haven't yet. We're still trying to build our follower base.
And if I may do a small self-promotion.
Yeah.
We've only touched the surface, I think, of Jurassic World. I would love to keep talking about it. If anybody wants to, in the nicest of ways or the meanest of ways, debate me or talk with me, hit me up on Twitter at JustGravyBaby. Also, I stream Jurassic World Evolution on Twitch.
You can follow Jonathan's Twitch channel right there. I put it in chat.
Hey, I would seriously, like, there is so much I can talk about this.
And if you have access to our personal, our Gutter Nerds Discord, as opposed to the Good Noodle Gang Discord, if you don't, hit me up. But if you do, then we, in the podcast postmortem channel, you can continue the discussion there as well.
Hey, perfect.
Tag Just Gravy Baby in it, and I'm sure
I'll respond as soon as I get myself a functioning phone again. My phone broke, and I'm going to get a new one and be all up on that biz, catching up. So,
my name is Steven.
Sarah.
And I'm Jonathan.
And we'll see you guys next time.